On Wednesday evening, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia announced that the two countries had signed a new mutual defence pact. The full text isn't publicly available, but officials said it included a NATO-like mutual defence clause, and on Friday, Pakistan's defence minister confirmed it would also require Pakistan, one of just 9 nuclear-armed states in the world, to provide a nuclear umbrella to Saudi Arabia. This is pretty astonishing. Not only is it the first time Pakistan has extended its nuclear umbrella, but it's also hard not to see this as a reaction to Israel's strikes in Qatar, which happened only a few days earlier. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the Saudi-Pakistan relationship, and what this new pact might mean for the region. If you're interested in the political alliances and groupings which shape our world, then you might enjoy our poster, Every Alliance Explained. It shows, in slightly confusing detail, all of the world's major alliances and how different countries link together. Check out the poster by clicking the link in the description. So let's start with a bit of context. Broadly speaking, Saudi-Pakistan relations can be split into 3 chapters. The first runs from 1947, when Pakistan became an independent state, all the way through to the late 2000s. During this time, Saudi-Pakistan relations basically went from strength to strength. As 2 Muslim-majority US-aligned countries, there was a natural affinity, but the relationship was also helped by complementary economic and security interests. Economically, Pakistan, which relies heavily on imports and has a long history of economic instability, was always in need of oil imports and hard currency loans, which the Saudis could provide. Conversely, the Saudis, who had more petrodollars than their economy could naturally absorb, were often in need of cheap labour, which Pakistan could provide. On security matters, Saudi Arabia has always faced various regional threats, but it doesn't have a great domestic military, whereas Pakistan punches well above its weight in military matters. Saudi-Pakistan defence cooperation really kicked off after the 1967 Arab-Israeli War, and later that year, the two sides concluded a security pact that led to thousands of Pakistani troops being deployed inside Saudi Arabia, some of whom would go on to fight in the 1969 Saudi-Yemen War. Saudi Arabia provided financial support to Pakistan during the 1971 Indo-Pakistan War, and Pakistan threw its weight behind the Saudis and other Arab countries in the 1973 war, with Pakistani pilots even secretly flying planes for the Egyptian and Syrian air forces. The two countries became even closer in the 80s, united in their opposition to both the Iranian Revolution and the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. But perhaps more importantly, Saudi Arabia had its own internal crisis in 1979, when Islamist militants took over the Grand Mosque in Mecca, calling for an uprising against the Saudi royal family and accusing them of betraying Islam. Pakistan sent advisors to help Saudi forces take back the mosque, and deployed tens of thousands of troops in Saudi Arabia throughout the 80s to help secure the kingdom. Pakistan's steadfast support for the kingdom paid off in 1998, when Saudi Arabia was one of just a couple of countries to stand by Pakistan after its nuclear weapons test, providing both economic support and free oil. However, and this is what we're calling the second chapter in this relationship, things went downhill in the late 2000s and early 2010s. Tensions first arose in 2008, with the election of the relatively populist Pakistan People's Party, or PPP, who weren't as committed to the long-standing relationship. The Pakistani Muslim League regained power in 2013, but the PML were still constrained by Parliament, which voted against providing military support to Saudi Arabia during the Saudi intervention in Yemen in 2015. And a few years later, Pakistan refused to join in with a Saudi-led economic and diplomatic blockade of Qatar, in large part because Qatar had become one of Pakistan's big natural gas suppliers. Imran Khan's election in 2018 opened up the possibility of a reset. After all, Khan was originally very close to the Pakistani military establishment, who were generally pretty pro-Saudi. Originally, this looked like it might happen. In late 2018, Saudi Arabia once again bailed out Pakistan with a $6 billion loan, which Khan acknowledged by presenting Saudi Arabia's de facto leader, Mohammed bin Salman, commonly known as MBS, with a gold-plated Kalashnikov. However, relations once again soured in late 2019, after India revoked the special status of its administered part of Kashmir. This caused outrage in Pakistan, but the Saudi reaction was somewhat muted, in part because Saudi Arabia had developed a pretty good relationship with India throughout the 2000s and 2010s. At the same time, Khan had taken steps to normalise relations with Iran, which irked the Saudis. Khan reacted to this perceived slight by buddying up to Turkey and moved to create a Pakistan-led alternative to the Saudi-led Organisation of Islamic Countries. Saudi Arabia reacted by essentially threatening to withdraw its loan, forcing Pakistan to abruptly cancel a summit. Relations remained tense but stable for the next couple of years, with Pakistan's obvious economic dependence on Saudi Arabia enough to deter Khan from rocking the boat any further. However, in the past year or so, and this is what we're calling the third chapter, relations have once again blossomed, culminating in the defence pact we saw earlier this week. This is largely because the basic logic of the Saudi-Pakistan relationship, Saudi Arabia provides economic support, Pakistan provides security assistance, has reasserted itself. Pakistan has been mired in a long-running economic crisis since the pandemic, and thus needs any economic support it can get, while Saudi Arabia clearly needs new security guarantors. Not only has the US, Saudi Arabia's longtime security guarantor, made it overwhelmingly clear it wants to withdraw from the Middle East, this American administration also seems unable or unwilling to rein in Israel, which has now attacked basically all its neighbours. While Saudi Arabia maintains the timing was incidental, this new pact came literally days after Israel's strike in Qatar, which signalled to other Arab countries that even an alliance with the US isn't enough to guarantee against Israeli aggression, and that they therefore need to create new non-American security architectures capable of deterring Israel. Things have also been helped by Saudi Arabia's recent rapprochement with Iran, mirroring the rapprochement that Pakistan began under Imran Khan. For context, Saudi-Iran relations have been stabilising for a few years now, but the rapprochement has accelerated in recent months, presumably motivated by mutual anxieties about Israel. MBS and Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian met in Qatar on Monday, where Pezeshkian apparently suggested a quote Islamic alliance to deter Israel. And a day later, the Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council travelled to Riyadh, which suggests that Saudi Arabia is at least considering the idea. In this light, perhaps the interesting question is whether this new pact is just a reflection of the recent upswing in bilateral relations between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, or the beginning of a wider multilateral alliance of Muslim countries worried about Israeli overreach. This might sound far-fetched, but on Friday, Pakistan's defence minister insisted that the pact and the Pakistani nuclear umbrella could be expanded, and even apparently floated the idea of a quote Arab Islamic NATO, not dissimilar to the Iranian proposal at the meeting in Qatar earlier this week. With the rise of complex geopolitical situations like these, as well as confusing economics and the growth of AI, things are moving very fast right now. It would be sensible then to begin improving your critical thinking skills so that you can keep sharp and better understand what's going on. And the best way to do this is through Brilliant. Brilliant knows that learning a little every day is one of the most important things you can do, both for personal and professional growth. So not only do they offer a perfect mix of engaging problems and competitive features, they also keep you motivated with daily encouragement, helping you better understand the world around you. Whether you choose to dig deep into complex topics such as how AI works in the world, or stretch your analytical muscles through logic and code breaking, Brilliant can offer you everything you need, whether you're at home or on the go. You can become a better thinker and problem solver one hands-on lesson at a time. To start your learning journey and try Brilliant for free, visit brilliant.org/TLDR, scan the QR code on screen, or you can click the link in the description. By doing so, you'll get 20% off an annual premium subscription, and they'll know that you came from us, which really helps us out.